Morning guys, it's Mike again. I'm going to go over that extent adjustment and quite possibly I'll try and fit the fuselage removal in. This is the receiver in your helicopter. The bottom adjustment is the extent adjustment, which Bully's talking about on the forum. The top one is the sensitivity. You're going to get to that adjustment by going through either this hole on the fuselage or this hole on the fuselage. It depends on where it's set inside the helicopter. On this green one I use this hole, and on the desert cam I ended up using this hole because it's a little bit more farther forward. Just so you know, you do have to have a battery in it and on for the adjustment to work, and you do have to have the controller on as well and bound to the helicopter. I say bound. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but I say every time you connect this thing, because this is actually the one for the green one, but it binds to this one as well. You have to put your battery in, plug it in, and then turn on your controller, and it'll bind up to the helicopter. I guess it's because it's the same frequency, it grabs whichever one. Now that we're all bound up, when you go through the inside of your helicopter, the side of it, you'll go to the bottom one with the little Phillips screwdriver that comes in a toolkit, and when you move it, this servo link is the one that actually moves. It'll be the one on the right side of your helicopter, and it'll go up and down and it'll jump. And what Bully's talking about is once you get it, it'll go to a certain point and stop, and then it'll fall back down. You want to get it to the maximum movement that you can with your controller, and then you just, you'll fine adjust it. I don't know if you can see it on the video or not, it popping back down, but I'll try and show you. You'll hear it move, but you have to have the battery on and the controller on again. You can hear it moving. I mean, it only moves maybe a 1/16 of an inch at most. And I lied to you. It's this servo arm. It's this back servo arm, so it'll be the one on the right hand rear of your helicopter. I apologize for that. So that takes care of your extent adjustment. Play with it a little bit and see how well the helicopter handles for you. But that's how you do it. Going to the fuselage removal, I did a little shortcut. Some people may disagree with it, but you can't see my shortcut, so when you're flying the helicopter or anything, so I'm not worried about it too much. There's 4 screws on the fuselage, one here, and then there's 2 on the opposite side, just about in the same position. Also, you have a screw right here below the exhaust port on the helicopter. That's for your tail shaft assembly. If you loosen up these screws, you don't have to take them apart. Just loosen up these 4 screws here, and this loosens this up so it'll slide off real easy. And then you're just going to loosen this screw as well underneath the exhaust port. And I'll show you on this one what that does. As you can see, I still have my tail gear assembly on my main shaft. So you don't have to take out all the screws here, just loosen them up. And then this screw here is the one that you're going to get to underneath the exhaust port. You just loosen that one up as well. You don't have to take it all the way out, just loosen it up. And then on your helicopter that has the fuselage on it, you'll take this out. Okay, set that off to the side. Then you're going to take off your rotor head assembly. It's hard to do with the fuselage on there, so get you a pair of small needle nose. It's a lot easier. Or I actually have a toolkit that I bought with these helicopters. It just happens to be in the box that the camera's sitting on now, so I'm going to use these. you just pop them servo links off very gently. I say that, I know I'm going to end up breaking one. Okay, take them servo links off. There's a little pin right here at the bottom of the rotor head assembly, and if you take your needle nose and push that through to one side, you can take the needle nose and just pull it out the other side. It does take a little bit, there's a little bit of force involved, but if you do that, it'll come out no problem. Last, you have this little guide for your swash plate. If you just very gently take that and bend it off to the side, your whole rotor head assembly slips off in one piece, so you don't have to do all the readjustment and re-leveling and all of that stuff when you put it back on. Might have to do some fine adjustments when you put it back on, but it should relatively stay the same. So now you're left with this inside your fuselage. You'll take them 4 screws out that I had mentioned earlier on each side of the body. And what I did was, on the bottom of the fuselage, I just took and cut these out on each side of the landing gear. You can't see it when you're flying the helicopter. It does no damage to the helicopter, and it beats trying to fight to get all this out of here. You can leave the landing gear and everything on it. You don't have to worry about it. And then what you'll do is once you have this like this inside the helicopter, you'll just actually take this and slide it back a little bit, pull the front end out, and pull it out of the helicopter. And then you do the same thing when you put your new one on. Just trim them pieces out, and everything just slides back in real nice. You don't have to break nothing. You're not fighting with it, forcing it. And then you put your, your helicopter back in the body. Put your 4 screws in for holding it to the fuselage. One of the important things to putting this tail boom back on is you don't want to force it. If you look on the end of the tail boom, there's 2 plastic tabs on that little ball that you can break very easily if you try and force it in. So once you have this back in your body, you're not going to be able to see if this is lining up. So what I do is I stick it back in there, and I'll take the main gear with my finger, or the rotor blade, and I'll work it back and forth to make sure it goes in correctly, and then you'll actually hear it clicking when it's in place on the motor. Then you'll go back through the exhaust port on the side of your body, and you'll tighten the screw down. Do the same thing, put your rotor head back on, put everything back in place, connect your 2 servo links back to the rotor head, and you're all done, man. You're ready to go back flying. Make sure you tighten these screws down real good on this tail gear holder. I actually put some blue Loctite on them. It sort of helps keep it in place. It doesn't come off or wiggle off as much like it used to without it. So there you go, guys. I hope this helped. If you have any more questions and I can help you regarding the 300s, let me know. And by no means, guys, am I a professional at this, or an expert. I'm just, by going from what I've learned from all these guys on the forum and different people that I've talked through and read about and watched videos about, I'm getting pretty good at getting them. Thanks.